Today, I have a special treat for you. I have an interview with Tracie Threaford, one of the mayoral candidates for the city of Tarrant, Alabama. Got one question for you. You woke? Time to get up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thought You're Woke, No Speed Limit podcast. My name is Alvin. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today, I have a special guest for y'all. Current President, Pro Tem, and District 2 Representative of Tarrant, Alabama, Tracie Threaford. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, Alvin. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. She is also serves as Superintendent of Tarrant Electric Department, correct?
Not anymore. We have a electric board now, so I'm no longer the superintendent of the Tarrant Electric.
Okay. She's also a wife, a mother, grandmother, and you were working on your doctorate.
I am.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. What is your field for your doctorate?
Organizational leadership. It's going to be in business management.
Business management. Okay.
You do that.
Yeah. What area of Tarrant does District 2 cover?
We cover mostly we're mostly houses, residents. We don't have any businesses. We're up by the intermediate school. I would say that would be Warden Avenue, all the way back toward Tarrant Huffman Road, coming from East Lake Boulevard by the Armory down to about Virginia Street. So it's not a very big area, but we're all residential. We have a few churches, unless you have a home-based business, because I do have a home-based daycare, but it's brick and mortars like grocery stores or pharmacies or anything. My district doesn't cover that.
My church is actually over there. Um, International Faith Ministries. It's on Lynn Street, I believe. I don't know if that's in your district or not.
Nah, it's back over in the old pipe shop.
So, what originally made you run for office?
My husband and I raised our family out here. My husband's from Tarrant. He grew up out here, went to school out here. My kids went to school out here. And when the last child graduated, we moved. And when we came back after his mom died and we inherited her home, I looked around and I saw Tarrant was not the Tarrant that I lived in and raised my children. I wanted to see more businesses. I wanted to see it wasn't dirty, but we had a lot of dilapidated houses, and I wanted to see those houses torn down and something done with them. Just it was neglect that prompted me to run. I wanted to make a difference.
Yeah, the young man, I remember coming out to Tarrant, and I used to take my aunt out there to. There was a shoe warehouse that used to be in Tarrant, and she used to come out there to go there, places to eat, had a good time, a little downtown. Since I've been going to church out there, for a while we're going to Food Giant. I don't even know if that Food Giant's still there or not.
It's not. It's currently our city hall. We demolished Food Giant and built City Hall there.
Oh wow. With that being said, what is the reason that made you decide to run for mayor?
Well, Alvin, I'm running for mayor because Tarrant is more than a city to me. It's my home. It's the place where I raise my children and where my grandchildren are now being raised. As you saw before, I had to have a little help from one of them.
Right.
It's where my husband and I built our lives. The younger, I'm not saying we're old, but the younger portion, the more vibrant portion of our life was spent here in Tarrant raising our children. And we formed a community that became our village. I could call on different neighbors. Hey, I'm working late. Can y'all look out? The kids are at home. My husband hasn't gotten home. This neighborhood became our village. I could send them to the rec center and know that they were being cared for properly, and they knew how to act and behave. And my deep love for Tarrant fuels my passion, and I want to see it become all they can be. And I've witnessed the heartbreaking decline and the image and the reputation of this city. And so under this current mayor, we struggle to attract and retain businesses. Our education system is falling behind. When my kids went to school out here, it was not a failing school. I actually moved out here so my kids could go to school out here. And just things like that. And our children are being left without the tools they need to compete globally.
Right.
and locally and nationally. And we're a city with so much promise, but the promise has been neglected for a very long time. And even more concerning is the division that's being allowed to take root. Tarrant has
And that's where I wanted to go with that. Tarrant City government officials have been at the center of several incidents, and
right.
even some that have reached national news networks, unfortunately. The firing and hire of the police chief, a gun incident with the city magistrate, sexual allegations against the police chief and the fire chief, even several incidents involving Mayor Wayne Newton. Not to mention some heated moments caught on camera during council meetings. What would you say to those who say that you and other members of Tarrant City government have not shown proper leadership?
I would say I agree. I agree. We have not. We all played a part. It wasn't just the mayor. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just this council member or that council member. We all played a part, but we played a part because we have passion for Tarrant. We all want to see Tarrant be the best that they can be. Some of the people on the dais have witnessed the decline from the time that they've been on there.
Right.
And I think sometimes that when we get passionate like that, it comes across negatively. And I think that's the whole thing. But you also have to be willing to take that passion, take that fuel, and learn to work together. And I think a lot of the times, because of the division, it was hard to work together.
That makes sense. I saw the one incident that ran away on the news about the activist in y'all city who basically used an expletive to explain how they felt about your city. Um, that being said, I know there's a number of things. What are your working relationship with Mayor Wayne Newton and your fellow city council members of Tarrant?
I work with everybody. I work with the council. I've gotten them to, approve things. I've gotten them to do things that were needed, but there is zero working relationship with as far as sitting down, discussing or talking. He'll bring something to the table. If we feel it's best for Tarrant, we'll vote for it. If not, we question it. And I think that would happen with any mayor, with myself, whoever, if you don't think it's the best for Tarrant. But I think a lot of it has stemmed from the fact that there's mistrust. So we've got to bring that trust back. We've got to be able to trust one another. When I bring something to the table, the council trusts me. I think this is the best for Tara, and I'm able to tell them why. I don't feel like I bully them into doing different things that we need to get done. Something simple like, I don't know, a book bag drive. Um, can we donate $1,000 for that?
Right.
That was something simple for the kids. So yeah, that was easy to get through. But some of the harder issues to get through, we have to sit down and we have to talk about those things. And that's where there's no talking. You're either gonna do it or you're not. And that's what's caused a lot of that
What's
division.
one of those harder issues?
Uh well, I wouldn't say it was a hard issue, but equipment for the public works and for the park and rec. We needed the equipment. It was a given. We had needed the equipment for quite some time. But I feel like the harder issue was the financing of it. And why are you waiting till now? Which in reality, it was brought up before. No one took action on it. And I think sometimes, and I don't want to seem harsh, but I think sometimes when you don't know exactly what you're doing and how to do it, and you've just gone along to get along for so long, then that's what makes you become
Become the problem.
that becomes the problem. Like you put your total trust in prior administrations, and now you're being you trust that person, but they're not going to lead us wrong, and now somebody new is here,
Right.
and so you got to build that trust, and so now everybody's apprehensive because change, there's someone new. So how do we rebuild the trust? How do we build the trust that we had in the prior leader? And I think that's what kind of got us all off on the wrong foot. No, we all were looking at each other like, oh my, I don't know you. Can I trust you? And then things began to happen and the trust was eroded.
And I know that's a tough situation to deal with. I know, like recently, you had that $500,000 deal with the fire chief. Sorry,
That's a big deal.
yeah.
We got so many chiefs and no Indians. That's a very big deal. That and people say, well, the insurance is going to pay it, but who do you think pays the insurance premiums for the insurance to pay? The people. It comes out of your tax dollars. Your tax dollars are paying that premium that's going to have to pay out that $500,000. And what do you think? It's a 500,000. We're up to a 500,000 at this
Right.
point. We're going to try to negotiate to bring it down, of course. But I mean, now you fired them again. So that's a possible new lawsuit. Like we're so deep with this particular issue, it's going to take a while to dig out from it. And of course, everything is rising, whether we use the premium or not. Everything
Right.
is rising. So the
Right.
cost of insurance is going to rise anyway, but this doesn't help. So that's a big issue.
That's a huge issue. So employee, this is getting me just because I'm getting a little interested in that. I've heard some conversations about police chief trying to maintain staff and things. Have y'all seen any layoffs or people just saying I don't want to deal with this anymore because of all of this?
I wouldn't say no layoffs.
Okay.
Fortunately, to my knowledge, no layoffs. And that's another thing. Communication is a riot out here. So if there have been layoffs, we as the council don't know. But I have not seen layoffs. I have seen police go to other departments, but I cannot say it was because of what was going on. Because you do have a divided police department. You have some that are loyal to the chief major and some that are loyal to the mayor. But I think everybody at this point is just trying to hold on, hold what they've got, keep what they have, and see how this election turns out. I don't have any, um, you know, I don't have any reason to lay anyone off or fire anyone or get rid of anyone.
Right.
I want to come in and work with everyone. How can we build our relationship that you trust me and I trust you? There will be a lot of mistrust, but I
Going
do not.
with that, how would you work to improve those relationships as mayor of Tarrant?
Transparency. A lot of relationships have been fractured. A relationship with business owners, relationships with citizens, relationships with employees. You have to be transparent. And don't be a hothead. Go in and listen. Listen more than you speak. You have one mouth and two ears. Listen to how people feel. Be in tune with that and be willing to make the necessary changes that I may have to make, and I may suggest changes that they may need to make. But let's all go in with an open mind and be willing to mend and build. That's
That's
how.
awesome. I mean, I guess that's where it leads me into this because I'm sure that chaos is hurting Tarrant economically. So, what are your plans for economic development?
Well, as a mom, I learned how to stretch every single dollar. Local entrepreneurs. I look at things like the city of Birmingham. They have like an incubator, entrepreneurial type. I don't know whatever you would call it, but I would start an incubator for the entrepreneurs and get them some of the resources that they need to help them stretch their dreams. Uh, a business incentive zone, like, hey, come open your business over here. We in this zone over here, we got these incentives. In that zone over there are these incentives. About a small business accelerator,
Right.
modernize the outdated ordinances, make it easy, give them less red tape so you can have more ribbon cuttings. And we're positioned for meaningful economic growth. We've got Coca-Cola building their plant right here at the foot of Tallapoosa Street. We've got the amphitheater over here in Norwood. So, through that coordinated mix of federal, state, and regional initiatives as part of the Jefferson County's Community Development Block Grant Program, we receive funding to support those different things and different houses and infrastructure upgrades, job creation. It's a lot. At the state level, we've got the Catalyst framework that outlines the long-term strategy for uh, developing rural and placemaking. Encouraging investments. So you've got community enhancement all around you. You've got the vacant properties, which you can do with the land bank or community land trust. I built the relationships, working at Synovus with Habitat and different places like that, and different developers to come in and help us rebuild our city. But you've got to have everyone on board. And that starts with building relationships. And that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years, building those relationships outside of the city.
That's wonderful. So, with that, also on that level, how do you go about attracting business to the city? What do you tell business leaders when they say, "Hey, I want to come to Tarrant. I know you said something about changing regulations and getting rid of old ordinances and things like that. But how else would you attract? How do you go? Do you go to the Chamber of Commerce, or um, do you try to? You say you build an outside relationships and networks. What type of networks have you worked in as far as that goes?
Well, I do. I'm in several different civic organizations that have different people from different walks of life there, and especially at work, being in the department that I'm in, having those relationships with different developers, builders. Yes, we have a chamber of commerce, but it's been a little bit defunct. We've had one meeting in 5 years, so you rebuild
Wow.
that. We're a part of a larger chamber, the North Jefferson Chamber, and they've been good about coming over, helping do things. So you make this city attractive. You go and seek grants. There are grants that are out there for business incentives and economic community development. Um,
Are there any plans for green spaces in your city?
Yes, we'd love to have. We've got one nature park. We've got several parks, but we've got one nature park in the heart of our downtown. I'd like to expand on that. And also, some of these vacant lots, they have suggested making community gardens. Now, I'm not a gardener, but I'd be on board with that. And that's what I mean by working together. That's not something that I particularly want to go out and do as an individual, but
Right.
I know that's good for the community, and there are others that want to do it. So I'll make that avenue available. Now I might go out and plant just a little, but I'm just really not a gardener, so that really probably would not be where my talents would be best utilized. But if that's something that's going to benefit the community wants it. I'm all for it, and that's what working across the aisle means.
And another big issue, of course, is how would you address housing concerns in Tarrant, like dilapidated houses or building new homes?
Well, right now we are in this administration. We have begun something tearing down the dilapidated houses. But the analogy I use is that's like pulling teeth. You pull a tooth and there's a hole. You pull
Right.
another tooth and there's another hole. You can't leave those holes there because
Right.
that doesn't do anything for the community. So that's where your relationships with Habitat or your relationships with other builders. You want to build something affordable, and I don't mean $300,000 and $400,000 homes in these spots. I mean put something there. Put a family that we want home ownership, so we teach those things. You get a Habitat family, or you get someone like. I have younger daughters that want to build. You want to bring the youth back because Tarrant. That's another thing. We don't have a lot of people graduating coming back to Tarrant. So you want to bring your youth back to keep your city revitalized, and you do those things by building homes, by offering incentives to the younger people. Hey, we've got this lot here. You have a land bank. You specify. I know you can use a developer to develop your land bank, but make some of those where individuals like you, I could buy them and build a home on.
Right. How would you address the issue of crime in Tarrant?
Crime is everywhere. But I do believe in community policing. I know some people are against that, but I want to see the police in my neighborhood get out and walk. I know you see it across the internet. I know we may not have the officers to do that, but I feel like, and this is probably going to be sore with some of the supervisors, but I feel like yes, you're a supervisor. Yes, you worked your beat, but Tarrant is small, and we don't have a large budget for 100 police officers. So maybe some of your shift you spend riding around on patrol. And then some of your shift you go inside and you do your paperwork.
But y'all,
Yeah,
what, about 6,000 people in Tarrant? About
yeah,
6,000?
roughly
Yeah.
6,000. Yeah. I know one police officer, I can ask him, how's Miss so and so and so and so on such and such street? He knows because he gets out, he maintains a relationship. I'm not saying all of them don't do it, but I know this particular one in particular does it. You can ask him about any given person in town, he can give you an answer because he gets out and he builds those relationships. He
Yeah, if
takes
you
that.
build yeah, I feel you on that because if you build a relationship, if you know each other, because I live in Fairfield, I sort of know my police officers, right? I know who to talk to, and they know where the problem spots are. So,
Right.
like you said, that's a good thing, building relationships. On that note, what are the activities for children or young adults in Tarrant right now?
Children, we do have rec ball. We have our Tarrant City Ducks. That's our football. Outside of that, we have baseball. I don't know if that really took off. We're developing a soccer league. Um, and of course, we have the school football teams. We have things there for the children, softball. But there's not a lot for when you say young adults, like I have a granddaughter, 17, 18. There's really nothing because you age out of youth sports
Right.
once get I think you're 12 when you age. All of my grandchildren, except maybe one or two, have aged out of the youth sports. So there's not really much to do. And I really want to involve them if I'm elected. What is it that you all want to do? What is it was you all would like to see? Because nobody's tapping into that. And my
Nobody's
grandma,
asking them, right?
it's nothing to do out here. Can we go over here? Can we go over there? And go wherever. But I want to develop something here for them. Mentorship programs. I don't know what the youth really per se like to do nowadays. Back when I was young, it was a skating rink. We used to have a skating rink out here, but I definitely want to tap into their interests. What would it take for you after you graduate, after you, or while you're still, what would it take to keep you here? So
Okay.
we tap into them.
So what would you say to someone, because there's a lot going on in Tarrant right now, or as far as trying to redevelop, what would you say to someone possibly looking to move to Tarrant?
Come on, come on to Tarrant. We're waiting for you. I'll do my best to welcome you and make you feel special and make you feel well received. Give us some time to get through the growing pains, whether it be me at the helm or whether it's one of my competitors at the helm. It doesn't matter. We all need to work together. Whether I'm elected or not, I'll still work in my community to make my community better. So come on and add your 2 cents. What can you do to make the community better? Because it's not about just what the leadership can do.
Right.
Tap into your residents. What can they do?
Okay.
Can they make it better?
Like that. So here's another question that comes of concern. As a youth growing up in Birmingham, one of the things that I was so appreciative of was the ability to use public transportation. How is public transportation in Tarrant right now?
We do have a contract with the what is it, Max? What they
Yeah,
call it?
I
Birmingham
believe that's Max. Yeah,
Authority. I would call it Max. But we
they
do have
got two different ones now, so I don't know. Yeah,
Class Tran does come and bring our seniors to the senior center. So we do have public transportation. I think is it Zip? It's one of the newer ones that I've seen out here. You can call Uber comes out, so we can get around if we need to.
right, right. So that's good. That's a good thing for growth. For me, that's why I feel like public transportation is a good thing for growth. Um, why would the people of Tarrant choose you as their next mayor? What is the main reason they should choose you?
I'm real. I'm not above. I don't present myself as untouchable. I have a family. I have things in my family that happen in other people's families. I'm one of them. I'm not, oh, she's the mayor and she's up here. No, I'm here. I've been through things. I've seen things. I've done things. I have, and I tell this story all the time. I have 5 children.
Mm.
Five that out of five, one is wayward. I know what that wayward child is like. I know what it's like to have to stretch that dollar to put a meal on the table. I've been married 32 years this year. Every year hadn't been rosy. I know how to commit. I know how to compromise. Those are the qualities I look for in a leader, not somebody who sits up and thinks they're above everyone else. We're a community, and nobody out here is better than anybody else. I don't care if your dirt hits the fan or your dirt it's skeletons in everybody's closet.
So this is the question I have to ask because this is for everybody. It's hard to get information on this, but how many people are running for mayor in Tarrant right now?
Three. There are three. It's myself, the incumbent, and there's one other gentleman.
Okay. Now, what would you say to someone thinking about pursuing a career in politics?
I never saw myself here in this position. I never in a million years imagined that. I watched my mother as she was a secretary of our neighborhood. I grew up in East Thomas. She was the secretary of the neighborhood. She went to citizens participation meetings. I think they call them something else, neighborhood associations now. But if you feel like you have something to offer your community, get involved. Don't shy away from it. Has it been roses every day? No, it was nothing like I imagined, but I have grown and I have learned and I have stretched. So anybody that thinks that they have, whether I look at the young man over in Birmingham, Jeremy Littlepage, as young as he is, I really want to see where his political career goes because he's stepping out there. He's doing the things that I want to see the youth over here do. Get involved. If it's no more than coming to the council meeting to learn about how we work and how we do what we do, get involved. I would never tell anybody, no, you don't want to do that. This has been, I can't say an absolute joy every day, but if I had to rate it, I'd say 90% of it, I enjoyed every bit of it.
So this is a question that I sort of added here, but what was one thing that you say that Tracie, who started being the city councilman, has learned now with Tracie, the experienced city councilman and president pro tem?
The one thing I've learned is to listen more than I speak. I've learned to listen because I never thought I knew everything, but I know that there's a lot to learn, and the citizens have real viable complaints. I look at them and I listen to what they're saying. They want to have a clean neighborhood. They want different amenities. Listen. I was not a good listener before, but I'm a better listener now.
Well, Councilman, I want to thank you very much today. This was wonderful. Hope we get to do this again after the election.
Definitely, win or lose. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. And you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
You have been listening to Thought You Were Woke No Speed Limit Podcast.